Let's just give you the latest coming in from Krugersdorp. Let's take it there live.
Maybe we are doing enough on the ground level, on the ground forces. We need to go to upstairs. We need to really find the bosses, because these guys, as you can see them, nothing tells you that they are gold. Nothing tells you that they are gold. So somebody's golden somewhere. So we'll have to really move. What we don't need to do now, we don't have to stop. We need to keep rolling with these operations in all these 4 problematic provinces. Keep rolling on them and just put the authority of the state and make the people live normal.
Right. In terms of the procedures, because you said, highlighted as well, there's some of them quite young, underage. Does that mean in terms of processing them, are you going to prioritize repatriating them, or are they going to face the
That's not for me. That's not for me. For the police is to collect. There are other departments, Home Affairs, Social Development, and all. They'll see what to do. But ours is to make sure that we collect whoever that might be the source of crime, even those that are young. But we are a democratic country. We need to look after human rights and all that. But that is less for me.
Aviwe from ENC, Minister, do you have a value of how much these operations are worth? And the police may be accused of being reactive, given that it took that heinous crime of those 8 girls being raped to get to this particular point. Do you even have plans, Minister, for the scourge of shootings that we see on almost every weekend at these taverns?
If you say reaction, I've just explained to say these operations have been going on. Maybe it's you that you did not know about this operation. Even underground, at one time in Orkney, we took 8 hours underground. There was a badly fights underground and all that. Velcom, where we started with real of these teams that were operating 2 years ago in Velcom. We have been doing what we have raised. It's an operation that we are here now. We are responding with the girls as we're supposed to respond, but also we need to work in a way that such things don't happen. You raised the issue of the shootings. The National Commissioner yesterday briefed the media, brief yourselves what is on the plan. Maybe I'm not going to repeat that, because that plan, especially in those provinces, seems to be this one, KZN and Western Cape. Maybe the plan made by the National Commissioner, announced by the National Commissioner, will have to follow it and make sure that we go on that. But generally, we have agreed as the law enforcement, as this ministry and all other friendly forces, that we have to have some form of pushing back. We hope all the cells that were found here will find information about it. They'll find out the owners and all that, and the other stuff. I'm sure where we were in the jungle, the rappels there, you realize that those are women's stuff and not an ordinary stuff and all that. The cells, some cells, you can see that these are latest cells, and we'll have to find the owners here. They'll have to tell us where they found those things. But we believe we're on the right track of dealing with this matter now and in future.
And of course, that jungle that the minister is talking about is those terrible living conditions that the illicit miners are finding themselves in Penwell. And we also have SABC at the back. Go ahead.
Penwell Lamina from the Sergeant. Minister, having looked at what you saw today, how would you describe the seriousness of illegal mining in the country? And what don't you think, having with your answer, don't you think it's time to start engaging these countries about what is happening in South Africa, the countries where these young boys are coming from?
Well, indeed, that they are here and they are committing crime, the law enforcement must respond. But as the question has been asked, what do I do with the young ones? There are other departments, there are social development, there are home affairs, there are international departments, DECO and all that. It has been raised with the Minister of International Affairs and Minister Pandon, all that, to engage the to engage the counterparts, but ourselves, there is a body called SABC, where the commissioner here comes together with the counterparts of SADC police and all that. Ourselves, we do engage with other ministers, but it does show that there is a business that SACU works on, there is another business that is illicit, that at the level of policing and all will have to come together. But as I'm saying, that for the police is to deal with what is in front of us. Our sister departments will have to take that and see what next steps do they take up with our counterparts in these countries we talk about.
How bad is the situation?
It's definitely bad, no doubt about it, especially on some 4 provinces, Woodville, Gauteng, Free State, I think Mpumalanga and Northwestern Limpopo. There are 5 these provinces. It's bad, but here, as you can see. But what is worse is when they go beyond this criminality. You hear stories. They go out at night during the day and knock at the house. He's still there. One woman told us a terrible story that they even take wives from the bed sleeping with the husbands and go and rape those women. We can't just be normal. The response really must be equal to the criminality that is there. And also work towards to say we stop it and stop here and it doesn't happen. So we literally need to live on the field as a South African police. So maybe all of us get out of the offices and live out there and be part of our communities and say to our communities, we are with you and we must be seen and we must be there and really respond. And that response must be decisive. I think we're on the right path to respond to that.
One last question, Mr. Minister. The issue of the ZamaZamas also being heavily armed. We know that they carry some heavy artillery, something that you don't find normally for normal citizens. Where is this artillery coming from? Is it perhaps coming through channels of the SAPS, corrupt channels, or other security forces in the country? Where do they get the arms?
Well, the investigations will tell us. Where if you say channels of the SAPS and all that, SAPS don't have AK-47s. They've got AK-47s. Maybe when we arrest and find them, they'll tell us, most of them, they come from Mozambique. We hope that some of the guns will be coming from there and other countries. But let's leave that to investigation. Let's find this. What we agree upon is that there is lot of guns here. There was a good success where we found, maybe you can tell the story how we found the woman that put about 500 rounds of ammunition and put a baby on the back. Those are operations that police do, and those are answers, are successes that, and they are not known, and everybody comes to say we're doing nothing. When we take 500 bullets in between the woman and the child, that's a good operation, and they chase in that particular village and found more and more bullets. That aunt is arrested. We're hunting the husband. So there is a lot that is not seen in prevention. Just imagine what those bullets would have done. What happened in Plaza in Maran Hill? That guy who was found with that rifle with 90 rounds of ammunition, going to Cape Town to eliminate somebody, paid 800,000. We have linked that guy with many other killings in KZN. So there is a lot of work that is being done. But here, we'll have to clean this place and make sure that people here, they stay and live better. All
right, there's the last part from the SABC, and then after that, we'll just hear from the General about this very interesting story that the Minister just mentioned. Go ahead.
The community has been, complaining for years, they say, about these kind of issues and criminalities in the area. For them, they feel this is reactive. What are the plans to keep this sustainable going forward? That's the first question. And the second is, we are here in response to that rape incident that happened. That's what triggered these kind of operations. Is the police confident that they've found the right suspects and that those that perpetuated this crime are those that we saw at the dock or that were arrested here?
I don't know how long I'm going to explain that this is not reaction to what has happened. These operations have been taken. Where it really started, it was in Velcom 2 years ago, where we created a special unit to deal with it. It has been in Orkney, it has been in Northwest and all. Maybe this one, we had to respond on this one. No doubt that such a heinous thing can happen, and it don't. So the community is right because they see it happening now, but we'll be engaging the community. I think we are going to that community on Saturday.
On the 6th, Minister.
On the 6th, to speak there, to hear and be with the community. But we would love to make sure that this rolls on. We would love to leave this community better placed than where they are now, so that we don't encounter, we don't experience such heinous kind of crime that have been committed a few days ago against those young people. It's a starting point, but we're not ending there. As I've said, that the call is made that we all come out of our offices. We live on the street, we live on these holes where these people are, we live with these communities, and we become part of communities, and the communities must work with us. And let me tell you, communities are really responding. We're working very well with the communities. That's what we want to take forward. I met some few people, business people here, saying we have more than load shedding here. The criminality keep our shops, keep our garages dark and all that. These guys, they don't even come to steal these things. They come with the guns and they displace people and they take over and all that. So these guns need to be found. These criminals need to be found. Young, some of them who are young, I don't know what the other sister department will do. Mine is to collect them together with the police and send them to the right channels. If they are sent to prison, I hope they'll be sent to prison.
All right. General, can you just take us through some of the successes?
Yeah, thank you very much for the opportunity. Once more, as you can see, this operation. So these guys, they are running a parallel operation. And surely, they are running this operation freely through intimidating the owners of the mine. You understand? So that is why we decided that we need to up our game. And as you can see here, these guys who are processing these things are not digging this here. It means somebody is bringing this stuff to them for processing within this precinct. So what does it mean to all of us? It means that it's another level of operation. Hence you see now this operation is led by the DPCI. Previously we have been conducting this operation, disruption operation through Operation Ukai Mulau. We're removing a lot of pendukas, the equipment used by these ZamaZamas. You remove today, tomorrow they are back, they are operating, they are resourced, highly resourced. Then you begin to ask yourself a question, where do they get these things from? That's when now the DPCI come in so that they deal with the whole value chain of organized crime. And they're doing exactly that. Some of the success stories which the minister was just alluding to. We're in Krugersdorp, operating there as normal. Member of the community said, hey, you know what, there is people who are selling arms and ammunition here, but they're using this. This woman, she's from Lesotho. She take all the bullets and whatever, she carried them at her back, put the child on top. And then she's delivering. The people, they put orders to the husband. The husband was not close by. And then this woman, she's doing these deliveries. So we have to body search that woman accordingly, according to the prescript, not us, but the other women who can deal that. And then that's where we find that, hey, this woman, she's just a walking delivery person who's delivering this ammunition. So these are some of the success stories when we do this operation. But surely you have seen in Gauteng we have been conducting this disruption operation, but it was at the lowest level because we're disrupting, arresting these small fishes, removing their equipment and so forth. But now there is parallel operation run by the DPCI and more is still to come. More is still to come, whereby they are going to deal with the big guns who are managing these operations.
General Mawela, Claudia from Newsroom Africa. Just a question. When you launched the cadets here in neighboring Kagiso, A promise was made that sector policing would be improved. We know resourcing is the problem. However, the community still complains that the police are allegedly complicit with some of these criminal activities and criminal syndicates. What are you doing to root that out, and how are you going to ensure that Kagiso, which seems to be a problem area, is turned around along with other problem areas in Gauteng?
Yes, we do have operations, but at times, we look at the risk associated with the operations. Some of the operations, the local police station, they cannot deal with it. For obvious reasons, they are not having those kind of resources which they can deal with that kind of a threat. So, on ad hoc basis, the intelligence we have accumulated, that's when now we arrange a bigger operation, the high density operation to can deal with those things. And we continue to do that. If you can check our Operation Okaimola for the past month, it was mostly around this particular area. And it was based on the hue and cry of the communities that raised these issues with us. So every Saturday, Thursday, we've been coming here, and we had a very good operations. We recovered a lot of firearms and so forth. Some of your colleagues from the media, they were part of those things. But we intend to continue with that, sustain. We'll hop around. The problem is not only in West Rand. You have your Ekurhuleni is having its own challenges. You have your Johannesburg, that area of Rulepoort, the Matholeville, you have those sort of challenges. But we'll hop around. Some of the operations are of that nature that the local police station cannot deal with it. So it needs us to can up. I will have to call to the National Commissioner to give me more resources so that, we deal with the threat on the ground. But we will continue, we'll soldier on.
If you started last year, if you started 2 years ago, you surely by now must have an idea who's the buyer.
No. You see, the DPCI, they are dealing with that value chain, and some of the operations which they are busy with, they don't find it space. I recall there was a time, I don't know, it was sometimes last year, we were dealing with another big person who was running the operation here in the West, in the West Rand. General Kadwa can talk about that thing. So that is another operation which I am not going to divulge, especially for the public, because of DPCI, they are working on that one. They're dealing with the whole value chain of the organized crime. But we, from the uniform branch, we ensure that we continue with our disruptive operations.
General, how would you rate the success of your operations, given that you do them almost on a weekly basis, but the quarterly crime stats that we're seeing are painting a bleak picture of lawlessness that's really out of order? Shouldn't you be considering other alternatives to grapple with crime?
You see, the thing is that one must ask a question that should be going to happen. And we can end it there. And you look at the number of criminals, the number of guns which we are removing from the streets. If we all decide you can go and sit at home and say, no, we are not doing this thing, surely the community or the citizens of Gauteng, they are going to be on their own. What we are doing, Gauteng, we know, no doubt about it, that is the main contributor of our overall crime stats in the country. And so, no doubt about it, Gauteng contributes big with everything. COVID big, economy big, crime big, everything is big in Gauteng. But should we stop doing what we are doing, the citizens are going to be on their own.
Just one last thing.
Yeah. It is the last one,
in
right?
terms of the DNA testing question, in terms of those who appeared before court, are these ones that you have arrested today also going to be DNA tested? And how is that going to run concurrently with the court process that's already started, linked with, of course, that heinous gang rape?
Fighting crime is an ongoing thing. So all those things we are talking about, the DNA, is our processes when we deal with criminals. You understand? You arrest a criminal, you take the fingerprints, you take the DNA, you take the buccal sample, you take all those things. So it's a process which we embark on. The minister spoke about this thing so that he made the citizen to understand what is going to happen moving forward with those ones we've picked up during the weekend.
Colleagues, that was the last one.
Well,
all right. Thank you, General.
Yeah.
That was the Major General Elias Mawela speaking to us here at one of the sites that they have come to during the sting operation. We also heard from the police minister giving us a sense of the challenges that they're facing, as well as what has happened this afternoon here. This is following the gang rapes that took place here in Krugersdorp last week. We asked, quite effectively on whether or not this is a reactive measures that have been taking place, as the communities have been complaining regarding criminalities in the area, the illegal mining. This has been an issue here with the abandoned mine dumps being a space where many illegal activities take place here consistently. We've heard from community members in the West Rand over the last few days telling us and describing what living in West Village and this area happens and what takes place. Many describing how they've been violated and assaulted, sometimes robbed in their own home. I want to ask camera person Thabo to give you a sense of this specific space that we're at. As you can see, this is just one of the areas that they operate at. We were given a sense from one of the generals on what takes place here. And I want to ask him if he could speak to us again and just describe what happens here with regards to the equipment that you found here as well, and what is the process of an illegal miner, when they go down into the shafts, and what's the process?
Yes, the process underground is much. It's not the same as on surface. Here they steal the gold-bearing material from the mines. They bring it here, and why they bring it here is because here's water. They built this tables, they call it James tables. They throw all the gold-bearing material on that cloths, and then they wash it off. The gold is heavy and it will go and lie into the cloths. Then they will wash the cloths, and that small bit of gold-bearing material they amalgamate with they make amalgam, and then they burn it, and it's a nugget, a gold nugget, and then it gets its way into the illicit market. Yes.
Those that work here, we know that there are not the kingpins in this operation. Do we have any understanding of where do they come from? How do they land up working, here?
What the minister also said is we can't, human trafficking is still a problem within South Africa, and some of these people are human trafficked to come and work, and then they give them this illicit work to do, and that is all they can do, and that is their money. So yes, human trafficking is one of the problems in South Africa.
Thank you so much. That was just one of the police officers here explained to us the process that's taking place right here with regards to the water that we're seeing here, as well as some of the equipment that are here. These are some of the people that were arrested here, the work that they would be doing. What we know is that yesterday 81 people appeared in court. They were arrested over the weekend following the heinous crime that took place here. They were then brought into court. All 81, from what we know yesterday in court, are only facing the contravention of Immigration Act. Today, we know at the last two sites that we were at, 20 people were arrested. 2 have been injured. 1 was critically injured during a shootout between police as well as the illegal miners at that area. As we know, they've been told that they're heavily armed as well. We were asking the minister earlier with regards to where do these guns and ammunition come from, and whether or not they're smuggled through from other countries or stolen from the police services. And he responded saying that the type of firearms that we're seeing being used are not that's being used by the police. We also, yesterday, if you'd remember, there was 20 juveniles that also appeared in court. And that's a question that we're seeing here as well today, with many that were arrested, quite underage, looked pretty young, and they've not ruled out that there could be human trafficking, playing a part in this as well. So a larger issue coming from that rape incident that took place last year that sparked outrage, as well as saw police then reacting to the illegal activity in the area, with many operations taking place. However, they say they've been doing this for 2 years in various other areas that 4 provinces have been identified as hotspots. But this area, they can concede, they've only really reacted properly to it following that incident. Back to you in studio. For now, we'll bring you more of this operations as we go along.